And who do I have the pleasure of speaking with?
Kevion.
Kevion and Kiva. Y'all see them? Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. All right, so the situation that happened in Memphis, you had 5 police officers beat a brother to death for an unlawful traffic stop.
Yes.
And come to find out, he didn't do anything wrong. And the brother died in the hospital, the day after?
God.
All right, so with that being said, in that situation, like, how does that make you feel hearing that 5 brothers beat up another brother and, and put him to death? How does that make y'all feel?
Angry. Hurt, I guess, and unsafe.
I was gonna say not safe. You can't even trust the black officers like you used to. Now you just can't trust no officers at this point.
So do you felt at one point in time you actually felt that you could trust the officer because he's black?
Not necessarily because he's black, but yeah.
I would say yeah.
Because one, you wasn't really hearing about black officers on black on black crime. You wasn't hearing that for. I'm not saying that it's not it's not something that has been done, because it is something that has been done, but that's not something that you hear often versus you hearing a black on white or white on black.
Yeah, I mean that makes sense because you looking at it because we're all black, then we should have some type of what's that
loyalty?
Loyalty for one another.
Yeah.
All right, but have you ever heard the term, like in the police department, they have a term, it's either you're blue or not. So it's like if you wear that uniform, they say that it doesn't matter what color you are.
Yeah.
Because that uniform represents what?
I mean, it don't represent us.
That's good. I mean, yeah, that's good.
Right.
I'll take that.
Right.
The uniform doesn't represent us.
Yeah.
So you got brothers that are in the uniform, but they don't represent us. And that's why it was easy for those 5 brothers to beat up and kill someone that looks like them because they wear the uniform.
So they didn't look at it like that.
They not looking at it like that. And that's important to know because according to the Bible, God tells us blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians to separate. You understand? He tells us to separate. So, like, okay, what do you think could have prevented this?
Go on, brother. How you doing?
You know, so I kind of gave you the answer. But what other ways do you think could have prevented this from happening to this brother or those police officers from beating that brother to death?
People gonna do what they want to do. I think I don't know exactly. Of course, I always say that the victim there was a reason or something, they did something wrong. Not to say that it was justifiable what they did to him, but I don't really think that there's much. Police gonna do what they want to do. So I don't really know if it was anybody else, if they would have did anything different. So I don't really know if there's much that we can do.
You agree with him?
Yeah.
So there's nothing that we can really do. So, like I was speaking on separation, right? Hey, how you doing, brother?
You good, bro?
Like how I was speaking on separation. So do you think, as far as like, we got Black History Month coming up real soon, and then everybody was just off of MLK Day and everything. What was that, last week?
Yeah,
everybody was just off of that. So do you believe MLK's dream actually benefited black people?
In a way, yeah. I think that everything that was done back in the day, in some capacity, benefited us down. But
even if it's nothing we can do to stop police brutality.
I feel like anything we do is gonna start a war. That's like if we boycott or whatever the case may be, like at that point it's gonna start a war just like it did back then. So it's just like
when you say start a war, like what do you mean?
In general, like there's always gonna be a problem.
Yeah, the city's gonna be hectic. Let's say like we get all the police officers, like a what's it called? Like a protest or whatever the case may be. I feel like at that moment, nothing's still gonna be done. We can voice our opinion, we can say how we feel, but at the end of the day, they still got a badge. So at the end of the day, that's what they looking at. That's what they going to. I got a badge, y'all don't. We over y'all at this point.
But keep in mind, we're talking about the 5 black officers that murdered their own brother. They had no loyalty to their own people. So what does that tell you?
You can't do nothing to her.
You want to get an interview?
I kind of do.
Go ahead. You got something to say?
My cousin. All I want to say is that.
I'm going.
All right, cuz, I'll see you later. All I want to say is, regardless of what the fact of anything is going to happen, everybody's going to be, feeling some type of way towards each other. Rather you black, your color of your skin is already a weapon. People don't understand that. That's already a weapon. You come in, they already intimidated by you. You ain't have to say nothing. You don't have to open your mouth. They're intimidated by you because of your skin color. Now, you said the 5 black men that killed their own men, right? I'm not saying it's a reason, but there's always a reason to something, right?
You know what
Never
their
know what's
reason
up.
was?
Yeah.
I don't, because I
The
guess
police
what?
officers in Memphis said that the brother was arrested for reckless driving.
See?
Their police chief said that there is not substantiated evidence, meaning that wasn't true. He wasn't reckless driving. Just like Philando Castile, he actually had a license for that gun. Even though cops may give a reason, that don't make it right.
Right.
Don't make
You
it right.
understand?
Exactly.
And that's if I may,
Oh,
Salaki,
please, come on, get
if
in
I
here.
may, what I would like to ask, not say, I would like to ask if the solution. So both of y'all, three of y'all, don't go.
No, we good. This is my
Okay.
cousin. I
All
just
right,
got-
so what's going on, brother? Y'all saying we feel helpless. We helpless.
They say there's nothing we can do.
There's nothing we can do, right? Which means we helpless.
Not, I wouldn't say that.
Well, he didn't say it. Them two
I
said
wouldn't
it.
say that.
What would you
I
say
would
would be a solution?
I wouldn't say it's always a solution to something. It's always
good.
going to be a solution to something.
So what's the
regardless of
solution
how-
to this?
We haven't figured it out yet. That's the only thing. But never said it's not there. You just got to figure things out. You have to sit down and think and try to figure things out.
Do you agree? Do y'all agree that separating from America is a solution for us?
Because I want to move out the country. I don't think.
Well, let me clarify. Because he said move.
Yeah,
When
I
I
wanna
say,
be gone.
if I may, when I say separate, I'm not saying separate like physically moving out of the country. I mean like taking our soul out of America. Meaning not to partake in the lust of America. Not to partake in the alternative lifestyles, give me something else. Like celebrating Christmas, celebrating Thanksgiving, celebrating birthdays are all lust that America provides to our people that are not prescribed in the Bible. So do you think that we should separate? Do you think separating from America, these brothers would have had an opportunity to still murder this brother, Tyree Nichols?
Yeah, I feel like the only way to separate is to physically go as well. I mean, we can separate our souls and things like that, but maybe I'm thinking of it in the wrong way. But I don't.
Well, that's what I meant when I said separate.
I
Not
mean, but I see
physically.
what you're saying, but I don't know.
Regardless
Okay.
of what you separate yourself, it always come back. Everything always come back. So regardless if you try to separate yourself because you already either dealt with it or going to deal with it, or it's just like I said, you're going to deal with it. So regardless of the fact, everything is always going to happen. So there's
So
nothing you can
if
run
I
away
may, you look at these other, like you look at other cultures, like you say the Arabs or the East Indians or the Chinese, they're separated from America. They don't keep the customs of America. They have their own,
Correct.
And they live here.
and they live here.
And check this out though, and that's what I'm saying, it's always a solution for it, but they have not figured out. Right? That's why Trump wanted to do that little wall with the Mexicans and all that other stuff, because he don't understand, like,
If I
you
may.
take it.
Go ahead, I'll let you finish. Go
I
ahead.
said Mexicans, Latinos, and Latinos. But at the same time though, he wanted that, say that wall, he wanted everybody out.
Right.
That it didn't make sense to me. Y'all keep saying free country, and
Right.
this is everything free here.
If I may, what I was gonna say was the brother brought up something that was heavy. I think you overlooked it, but the brother said the Chinese. Take the Chinese. They're here and they live in America. Do they run for office?
Nope.
Are they murdered like Tyree Nichols?
Nope.
Are they murdered like Philando Castile?
Nope, they ain't even on the news.
They have Chinatown
Exactly.
in the capital city of America. They have Chinatowns all over this country, and China and America are enemies. But they live here. They're separate. They're not affected by the crimes of America because they don't partake in the lust of America. The Arabs, America just fought a 25-year war with the Arab Spring over there in Afghanistan, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia.
Right.
The Arabs could still come here, not be profiled, not be gunned down, not be choked out, not have a knee on their neck for 9 minutes, and they still could kill Americans over in that land, come over here and establish chicken spots here in Kansas City.
Right.
Establish chicken joints in the ghetto. And they don't have to partake in America's scene. They're absolutely separate. So should we follow that type of separation that other nations do? Or should we just say we're helpless and continue to join and integrate into America and partake in all the lust that America gives us?
I think we just should do what Americans are giving us, because regardless of the fact they're gonna do what they want to do. So
I
it's
was
nothing
say
that
they
we
not our
can
color
do.
either.
And it's nothing that we can do. There's
Yeah,
literally
they not
nothing.
they target our color. They don't target.
Well, if I made the
No,
brothers
you know
just brought
that-
up Mexicans. If they're not, if color is the issue, then why does
It's not.
America hate Mexicans and Mexicans are not our color?
Honestly, it's not even the color that's the issue. I think it's deeper than the color.
Get a brother a hand.
Like, I really think it's deeper than the color. Like, I always thought that. And I'm
So what do
25
you
years
think?
old,
What do
and
you
I
think it
always
is?
thought- I don't know. That's why I want to find out. But of course, they ain't gonna be like, oh yes, I don't like this person. Because
Well, if I may, do you see a pattern of black,
of course, now
Hispanics,
that I see a
and
pattern.
Native Indians
I see a pattern.
being abused more?
I do see a pattern.
Let me ask you a question, brother. Who dies more from HIV and AIDS?
Black.
Who dies more from herpes?
Black people.
Who dies more from heart failure? Who died more from
Diabetes.
COVID-19?
Diabetes, I was just about to say that.
Diabetes, hypertension,
COVID-19,
police deaths, police brutality. Who dies more from those things?
Well, older
Who
folks.
dies more?
COVID-19, it was definitely not the blacks that died more. It
Who
was
did it affect more?
Black people.
It affected
Say it again,
black
sis.
people. It did.
Black
It
did.
affected blacks.
But you said who
Hispanics.
died.
Well, it affected black
you know, I
people
gotta-
more, and we're the minority. How is that possible? So it can't just be about a color thing. I think maybe it's a race thing. Maybe it's the people that we descend from. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, according to the Bible, are the children of Israel. You understand? And it seems like in the history of this country, we're the people that have always been brutalized. We're the people that diseases always seem to affect, like syphilis. Y'all familiar with the syphilis experiment, the Tuskegee experiment? Y'all familiar with HIV/AIDS affecting black women more at a higher rate than the entire west coast of Africa? How is that possible if it's not a race thing? It absolutely is about race. It's absolutely about who we are. The issue is because of Christianity and poor black leaders, our youth and our elders, they don't see the problem. Like we was just sitting here having a great conversation with an older sister who's old enough to be our great-grandmothers. And she said that she believes that we can have our cake and eat it too. That we can be American and we can separate. But that's not possible. Because if you try to join America and separate from America, you have Dr. King. You have Malcolm X. You have Jesse Jackson, who all failed black people.
And
Go ahead, please.
Also, in the add
Not
on,
really.
and also to add on to that list of those poor leaders that he just said, you also have the 5 police officers who killed.
Yeah, the brother.
Who killed the brother.
I don't
Yeah,
think
right.
they're no poor leaders.
Who,
I
Dr.
don't-
King?
None of them poor leaders.
What?
You know why?
Go ahead.
Because this is why I say that. They came to our attention, right? When they came to our attention, look how the world is. Look how the world. If you really think about it,
Police
look how
just
the world-
killed the 5 police officers.
I understand
killed.
what happened. It's
Okay.
not. It's stuff still going to happen. I never said stuff was going to happen, but it changed dramatically. Because remember,
Did
we
it
couldn't
change
get
in a good way or a bad way?
both. And this is why I'm gonna say that, because check this out though. Because it was times that you couldn't even go use a fountain that says, you know, whites only.
We had our own.
Regardless if we had our own, we still wanted the whites, right?
No.
Yes, yes,
didn't.
yes. I'm
Dr.
20.
King wanted their
One
own.
thing about I'm 25 years old, and I definitely paid attention to history. That's one thing I do love. They did want to drink out of there. They definitely did.
Who wanted to drink
Yes.
out of there?
Some of the students that was in some of the schools that I have read on have
Well, we're
wanted-
not necessarily
But that's
speaking
what I'm
about
talking about.
students. We just
That's
saying
what I'm
as a
talking about.
race of people.
They
Blacks,
was black.
Hispanics, and Native Indians never wanted to go and drink out of the white man's water fountain.
Mm.
Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians never wanted to drink or eat out of diners that said white owned. We had our own. Dr. King, all he wanted to do was have sex with white women. And that's the reason why he joined black people into the white people. There was a brother by the name of Adam Clayton Powell up in Harlem, New York. You remember how famous Harlem was? You say you paid attention to
Right,
history.
of course.
Adam Clayton Powell spoke for 90% of black people in history when he said,
cold.
"Oh, you want to
Yeah,
go
I
ahead,
am too,
sis?
low-key, I am.
Oh, okay. Well, no sweat. We'll in the interview if y'all want in the interview.
I just
still
want to
wanna
hear this last part though.
Okay, Adam Clayton Powell Jr. He was a black man up in Harlem. Harlem was one of the blackest cities, even blacker than Georgia at this time. You heard of the Harlem Renaissance?
Correct.
It was nothing but black people up in Harlem. We had our own restaurants, our own communities. That brother Adam Clayton Powell, he spoke for those black people up in Harlem when he said that we staunchly disagree with Dr. King. This was in the 50s, not even the 60s. In the 50s, black people in Harlem didn't want to drink out of white people's water fountains. Black people in Harlem, they didn't want to go to a white movie theater. Why? When they had their own. How many HBCUs were started before the Civil Rights era? Do you know? Do you know? Over 55. How many HBCUs were started after the Civil Rights era? 0. How many black men were being killed and brutalized by police in Memphis, Tennessee that looked like them before civil rights? 0. How many have been murdered?
Okay, I heard it.
How many been murdered by black people since civil rights? A lot. Countless. So it don't seem like Dr. King's dream really works. What it seems like is people who love the lust of America would also love the dream of Dr. King. Dr. King said that he had a dream that the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners would join hands together. How could that be? How could slaves and the slave master join hands together? Who is going to serve the food? Who's going to rule? You can't have both. That's why Christ said that you can't love America or you can't love one master and then love the other because you will hate one. You have to make a choice. And Dr. King's choice was to join us to America. That's why that brother Tyree Nichols was murdered. because those 5 black cops, they loved America more than they loved you. They loved America more than they loved him. They loved America more than an innocent, poor black man who didn't do any crime at all. You understand? So that's where we'll wrap the interview up. I know you said you was cold, sis. That's all.
We appreciate
The brothers,
it,
they
man.
didn't left you. They left you out
Time
here cold. That's your cousins?
Those my cousins and our brothers.
Oh,
My brother
okay.
and
They
cousin.
left you out here cold. No sweat, sis. Thank you for the interview.